Hey there! So that dreaded check engine light is on and it brought you here. Well, you're in exactly the right place. Today we're going to put on our detective hats and solve the mystery of the P219E trouble code on your Ford. Let's crack this case together. So you saw the light, you plugged in your scanner, and it spit out this code, P219E. Now, I know it sounds super technical, but it's really just a clue your car is giving you. In this explainer, we're going to translate that clue into a clear, simple action plan. You know, every good investigation has to start with understanding the evidence. So our very first step is to decode this error and figure out what on earth your car's main computer, that's the powertrain control module or PCM, is trying to tell us. Okay, here's the key takeaway. P219E points to an air-fuel ratio imbalance, specifically in cylinder number 3. Just think of your engine like a chef. It needs the absolute perfect recipe of air and fuel to run smoothly. This code is basically your car raising its hand and saying, hey, the recipe for cylinder 3 is all wrong. It's a small imbalance, but it's enough to cause a problem. All right, so now that we know what the problem is, our investigation is going to shift to why it's happening. We need to identify the potential culprits, so let's line up the main suspects, shall we? So, based on what we know, the case almost always comes down to one of these 4 characters: a faulty fuel injector, some tricky electrical interference, plain old low fuel pressure, or a leaking emissions valve. We're going to examine each one of these to pinpoint the real cause. Okay, it's time to interrogate our suspects. We're going to go through them one by one, look at all the evidence, and figure out the solution for each one. Let's really get to the bottom of this. Our first suspect is the fuel injector for cylinder 3 itself. Now, this little part is responsible for spraying a really precise amount of fuel right into the cylinder. If it's leaking or clogged up or just contaminated, it can't control that spray, which, you guessed it, immediately messes up our air-fuel recipe. And as you can see, the fix here is pretty direct. If that injector is the culprit, it just needs to be replaced. But, and this is super important, you have to make sure the new one is sealed properly. A bad seal can lead to the exact same problem all over again. Suspect number 2 is a bit more, well, technical. It's electrical noise. See, the crankshaft position sensor, or CKP, sends a super important signal to your car's computer. But if other wires are routed too close or aren't shielded right, they can create electrical static that messes with this signal. This can totally confuse the computer, making it miscalculate that air-fuel ratio. Now, what's really interesting about this one is that the fix might not involve replacing any parts at all. The solution is to just carefully check out the wiring harness for that CKP sensor. Sometimes all you have to do is reroute it away from other electrical stuff to clear up the signal and solve the whole problem. How cool is that? Our third suspect might just be the simplest of them all: low fuel pressure. I mean, think about it. If the engine isn't getting enough fuel to begin with, there's just no way it can create the right air-fuel mixture. The ratio will be lean, which just means too much air and not enough fuel, and that will absolutely trigger this code. And the solution here can be refreshingly simple. Seriously, before you go out and start buying parts, check the basics. Do you have enough gas in the tank? If you do, the next step is to check the fuel pressure to make sure the pump is working like it should. You might just find that the big fix is a quick trip to the gas station. And our final suspect is the evap purge valve. This is part of your car's emission system, and it's supposed to manage fuel vapors. But if it gets stuck open, it can let in a bunch of extra air that the engine's computer has no idea about. This unmetered air just throws that delicate air-fuel balance completely out of whack. And just like with the fuel injector, the solution here is a direct replacement. If that evap purge valve is leaking, you gotta replace it. And you guessed it, making sure it has a perfect seal is absolutely crucial to make sure this doesn't happen all over again. So there we have it. We've interviewed all the suspects and we've identified the potential solutions. Now, let's put it all together into a clear, logical action plan. This is how you're going to methodically close the case on code P219E. This is your roadmap, plain and simple. First, you understand your clue. P219E means an imbalance in cylinder 3. Got it. Next, you review your lineup of suspects: the injector, electrical noise, fuel pressure, or that evap valve. Finally, you investigate them one by one. This systematic approach is how you find the real cause instead of just guessing at it. And let's end on this note. That check engine light can feel pretty intimidating, for sure. But as we've just seen, a code like P219E isn't some unsolvable mystery. It's really just a puzzle. And with a logical approach and the right information, it's a puzzle you are totally capable of solving. So, what's your next step in the investigation?